Hi everybody, this is Donnie. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be showing you how you can make your own stickers using your Silhouette Studio software. The examples I'm showing you here are sheets I've made myself. These techniques are what I use and have found work for me. I'm certain though that there are many other ways to make these, but this is what works for me for now. I'm using the business edition of the software, version 4.1.479. Links to everything I've used for this video are down below. And as you can see, there are overlays, icons. You can do anything with this. Scripts, days of the month, all of these things. These are the ones that I use every time I sit down to plan. Just think of all the possibilities. Some of the most satisfying things I've ever made for my own use are stickers for my planners, whether or not they're foiled. Printing and cutting my own stickers is quite enjoyable. Foiling to me is like icing on the cake. I use a Minc Machine for all of my foiling. I'll discuss all that in my video, and I'll even show you a hack that will be quite helpful. Also, technical information is included in this video, so if you're interested in the order of how you print and cut, how to make a sticker, how to make a color background, this is the video for you. So let's get started. I've been asked to show you how I do a background in color and then do an icon on top of it to be foiled. So I'm going to go through the steps for that. There are 3 basic things you need to have layered so that you can accomplish the foiling method with a background of color. Obviously, you see a lot of color. I'm going to be calling this particular thing a quadrant sheet. The colors that I like to use are the ones that you see on the screen. In my Silhouette Studio, I am running the business edition, and right now my software was updated to 4.1.479. I'll put that all in the comments as well. And anything you see me use or you hear me talk about that's purchased by me from Amazon or anything like that, I'll also link below. 2 things you need to have to foil besides your Silhouette software and your Silhouette machine would be 2 different printers, an Inkjet, which will print color, and a laser printer, which will print black with toner. That's the key to foiling. Foiling takes toner so that the heat of a Minc machine or a very hot laminator will melt the toner to the foil, or the foil to the toner. I don't know the exact method it uses, but you have to have heat and adherence. Some people have had good success using different types of adhesive, but for us that like to make stickers, the laser printer is the option we choose. Okay, let's look at my Silhouette Studio. What I have here is my saved images of things I've worked on so that I can print and cut 4 different shades of a color. You can do anything you want. Take all these ideas and run with them. This is my method. I did not learn it from anybody, so I can't give you any more pointers than what you're going to see on this video. But I hope it's helpful. I think you might find a few things that you haven't thought of, and if you have any better methods, would you share them with me, please? Save me some steps. The first thing I'm going to do is the color quadrant sheet. And basically how I do it, I have it really stretched out far so you can see what I have on my page. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to use the plus, and I'm going to squish in here to the middle of my sheet, I have over here the gray sheet that I have made. And you'll notice that all of my images that I've made, all of my quadrant sheets, have a bar next to them with a color rectangle next to it. This is a tab that I use so that, I'll show you on the pink one down here, I can drag the whole group. They're all grouped together, and I can drag that whole group of 4 colors or whatever I have in there. I use those tabs frequently. So I always attach a tab to whatever I'm working on, and I'll show you how to do that later. First thing though, let's look at this quadrant right here. It's made up of 4 rectangles, and we make our rectangles over on this far left side. I choose the first option and draw a rectangle. There's a rectangle. Let me put some color on it, or some black at least on it, so that you can see it, because I see that pink does not show up in here. I'm going to, there it is right here. This is the one that I just made. I'll show you the dimensions of mine in just a second. Once you make a quadrant, the easiest method, for me anyway, is to take it, press my control button, which by the way, I'm on an HP computer. I don't know the shortcuts for the other types. I choose the control button on my keyboard. I'm going to hold it down after I've chosen, which I'm assuming y'all already have a basic knowledge of silhouette. If you click outside of the image you want, all of the marks around it disappear. To choose it, you click on the line and it will put these marks around it. So once you choose it, hit the control button, hold it, and then the right button, or the right arrow key. Now you have 2 boxes together. They are not grouped. I'm going to click outside the box, and then I'm going to choose both. Again, hold the control key down and hit the down arrow button. And now I have all 4 quadrants. I'm going to take all 4 quadrants and not get that tab that I have in the way. Right mouse click, and I'm going to group it right now, so I can drag it away from the other stuff. Those are my 4 quadrants. What I can do with these quadrants, let me come over here so I can show it to you, is next, the easy part, I'm going to just ungroup so that they're all separate but still together. Let me turn off my transform panel here. If I choose one quadrant, I can give it color. So I'm going to come up to my paint palette, my fill, and I'm going to choose a color. I'm going to copy this over here, for example. So I'm going to give that first one the darkest black that I can find on that list, and I'm going to give it that color. Actually, I'm going to give it to all of them, and I'll show you why. I'm going to color all 4 of these the same color, and then I'm going to choose that 4th one and color it the same. If you are going to want to make different shades of a color, you have the option using the transparency here to do so. If I choose the 2nd quadrant and I hit, say, the transparency, this one's 36, you see I have a lighter gray color and not black. I'll choose another one. I'm going to go down a little bit further and choose 71% transparency. This is a lighter gray. If I choose that 4th one and I take it almost all the way down, it's almost, it's the lightest color, but it's not white. So it's a gray as well. And instead of dark black, I think I'm going to just nudge it a little bit and say a little bit more. How about a 20? So this was like 20 and 36, 71, and 93%. So I've made 4 different shades of black, basically. You can do the same thing with any color. Your advanced options are your friend. RGB. I look up things using the RGB codes on Pinterest. There's lots of places you can look. There are shade color swatches that you can buy. I have one that has basic colors, like it I think has 100 different colors, but some of them are the same. But it gives you an idea of what you can get and where to start. And then you can nudge those colors back and forth using this area up in here. If I want a pretty pink, I can click over here, back and forth, lighter, darker, and you can see on there some of the different colors I can get. Now, if I want to start with something pink, for example, I can just come over here and pick any pink. That same color, though, I don't know where it is now. I don't know what the numbers were for it or anything. And I want that color, that pink, in this box. The next thing I can do easily is copy that color. I can click in that box, which I have already chosen, go way over to the far left-hand side of the screen and choose the very bottom option, which is a dropper. That, once I click it, will copy this pink into that box. This is quick, easy, kind of a copy-paste way of taking all of those pinks and getting all of my quadrants the same color. If I didn't know that number and I didn't want to like type it all in, this is just easy peasy method. Then again, I can come over here, take the transparency down as much as I want, color these any shade I want. And it's hard to show you on this color background because it's gray. Let me see real quick if I have a white background handy up here, and I'm going to slide this over so that you can see it on white. And I'm dodging my camera, so if I hit it, I apologize. Okay, here's my white page that I'm going to be working with. I'm going to drop it on here and see what the true transparency is on here. So I don't like this last one. It's not really pretty. So I'm going to click outside and then click back inside so I can choose that one quadrant. And I'm going to change the transparency, which was all the way down to 98, and give it a little bit nudge down. That's a little better. So just an idea of how you can make the quadrants and color them. Now at this point, here's how I make just a little bitty rectangle next to it. I make a rectangle. It happens to already have this pink chosen for me. That's fine. I'll take it. I'm going to click the little arrow button on the far upper left-hand side to turn off this option. Anytime you use one of these tools over here, remember that you click that little arrow button up there to cut it off. Okay, so now I have 4 quadrants, and I also have a tab. I want to save the quadrants, so I'm going to highlight all 4 quadrants, right mouse click, and group. Now, yes, I did intend to leave that separate. Now I'm going to click on what is now grouped together, all 4 quadrants, and I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on the little tab. Now I can release the shift key, right mouse click, and group. And what I've done is I've chosen 2 elements and grouped them without hovering over all of them and grabbing them all together. You can do it either way. That's an easy way when I'm doing multiple things to pick and choose from different areas that are kind of strange and would keep grabbing other things I didn't want. I can pick and choose which ones I want to be grouped and not worry about that. So now I have a color quadrant that I can use. Okay, I'm going to go to a different sheet, a different file. I call this my color quadrant worksheet. Again, 4 quadrants. 1, 2, I'm in the blue, 3, 4. I've got them all the same color. I can use all the options, and if I want to move them, I can do so. And unfortunately, I have caught the pink. Let me move it. And the back button, I'm going to point this out real quick too. This is the back button, or the undo button. I call it the back button because it's kind of like a recorder to me. Anyway, if you hit that back button or the forward button, it'll take you back and forth to what you've previously done. I'm going to move my pink option out of the way. I'm going to group these. Right mouse click, group, and then shift. I'm going to have to go outside of it, I think, and shift. Choose the tab, right mouse click, group. Okay, once you have, I'm going to move the blue. I don't want the blue right now. I want the pink. Look, there's a tab. I'm just going to grab it and bring it over. This one's a little bit different size. This is the one where I'm going to tell you the sizes that I use and that are correct. Let me show you real quick a page that I'm going to make. And it's hard because my camera is right in front of my computer screen. I believe that's the one. I have made some icons. This is a laundry line. They're sideways on the page. I want to print these icons onto my pink color. One of the things I need, and I'm trying to find it. Okay, on this page, what I've done is copied my pink color quadrant, pasted it onto this page. I've also chosen a page of icons that I have pre-made, and that's going to be the next thing we do. I've chosen this one, copied it, and pasted it to this page. And then that way I'll be able to use both of the elements that I've made to make my sticker page with the color background and get it ready to foil. One more element, I don't know if you've noticed this white box over here. This element is the background white corners that I've made. Simple concept. 3 rectangles, squares, whatever. 1, 2, 3. Remember to click the arrow to turn that off. I want them all to be white. So I'm going to highlight all 3 of them, choose white for the outline, choose white for the fill. And now I have 3 white boxes. The reason I have made these is so that I will be able to place a white box on each corner of the color quadrant page. I'm just going to cover up what I've already made here so you can see kind of how I did it. I want to cover those quadrants so that when I print the color page, the color will not print in those areas for the registration marks. I'm circling those white areas. And this tab, yet again, another tab, I'm going to scoot it over so you can see it. If I don't have those white spots, those white squares in the corners, my registration marks are going to have pink right below it, and the machine will not read it. So that is the purpose of these white squares. I line them up to be as close as I can get them to these hashtags in the registration area. That way when the machine, you know how the machine goes zzz, zzz, and reads the registration mark, and then it'll move all the way down to the bottom left hand corner here and read the registration mark. You need those to be clear. then it goes up to the right hand corner and reads that one. So this is my cheat method or hack or whatever you want to call it to cover the color in these registration mark areas. And then I make sure that all of my icons don't go under the hash marks. I can still see on this sheet exactly where I need it to go. To make one of those, let me come over to my background white corners. I made those 3 corners, put them where I needed them to be. The way you can see that if you have your machine set so that your page is white is to come over here to your page setup. This first icon that you can choose, click on it and come down to reveal. This slider will make it where you can reveal the background and you'll be able to see white on your page. That was very helpful when I located that. Okay, let's look real quick at how to make, and I think I might have stuck it right here. Yes, I did. Let's make an icon, a sheet, so that we can print it. I've chosen, because I need to water my plants, I need a sticker, just black. That's all I needed. Something black to give me an icon that I can foil. I'm going to start first with doing a cut line around it. I'm going to come to the far right hand side of my screen. The butterfly, which is the 5th element, it says open the trace panel. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click select trace area, and then I'm going to highlight my whole image, getting all of the elements. You might have to come over and mess with the threshold by sliding it up some so that your image, if you'll watch the left hand part there where the yellow is, the image will get a little bit sharper as you slide it up. So you can do that. Play around with these. I don't know how to do all this actually. There's a despeckle, which just looks like it's just going to make it worse. I lost a drop on that one. And then when you have it ready, I usually hit trace and detach first and do it again. That way, if there's any extra stuff around your image, it'll pick that up. So I'm going to do that right there. I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to grab the black part of my image and slide it down. I'm going to grab the drops, which I'm trying to grab the drops. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me see if I can go in real close over here and show you what it took away. And I'm going to hover my mouse over this area as I go in and show you more close up. I'm hoping my phone will let you see this. Can you see this black fuzz highlighting the area? That I'm going to get rid of, because when I did that trace and detach, it left all this mess right in here. So I'm going to cut that off the page. It's kind of like I've erased all of the extra lines. Let me come back out. I'm sorry if this is bad, y'all. I don't do this often. Okay, I'm going to take the drops and the water bucket, grab all of those elements, right mouse click, and now I'm going to group them. Let me drag it up a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm coming over to the right hand side. It says select trace area. And my printer just cut off, so that's what that noise is. I'm going to highlight it. Again, I'm going to up the threshold. I think it can take it all the way. This time I'm going to trace outer edge. Okay, now I have a nice clean outline of my whole image, including the drops because I grouped them all together. This is the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off my trace, and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more elements to the star, and that is the offset panel. You notice I already chose the outline, the red outline, which is going to be my cut line. I'm going to hit offset, and it will give me an outline of the entire image. Sometimes you have to make this a little further up. This is 0.125 right now. I'm actually going to make it a little bit larger because, or further away from the main line, because I don't want all the little stuff inside the drops. I'm going to stop at 0.140, hit apply, and I'm going to come over here and drag the interior away from what I just traced. Is that what it offset? That's the word I needed. I'm going to put this cut line now around the image. I'm going to center it next. I'm going to choose the whole group, and I'm going to come over again one more time to the far right hand side, and the 3 little columns that are attached together is the transform panel. If I do the horizontal middle button one time and the vertical middle button one time, I have centered my image inside the new cut line. Right mouse click that and group it together. It's good to go. Now I can make this whole thing, I'll make it big so you can see it. I hope you can see the cut line on there. Let me get it larger. We'll come in close now. There is a red cut line on it. You can change that to any color you want before you group it. So here is my very large water bucket. I'm going to resize it now and make it small. I'm looking for a sticker about 0.3, I'm thinking, about 1/3 of an inch, maybe closer to 1/2 inch. I think that's about the size I want. This one is right at 1/2 inch and then 0.457. Let's just go with it because I want you to see how easy this next part is. I'm going to take that image, that size, because that's the one I want, and make sure before I start doing anything that I do have this red cut line around it, or I have to start all over. Can you tell I've done that before? I'm going to hit the control button, and I'm going to do the right arrow button one time. That's all I need to do to show you how to copy it. Very easy. Okay. How easy is it to take both of them, the control button, the right arrow button, and do it again? I see that as I'm doing this, there's plenty of room for my machine to cut the red cut line all the way around and not get into another sticker next to it. So there's 4. Let's see what 8 looks like. Control, right arrow button, and it looks like there's too many. So next, what am I going to do to see how I can get this to this? Well, what I need is a copy of the color quadrant. Okay, I have spread back out so that you can see the entire work surface of my studio. We've got all 8 of these icons made, and this is just my test page. This I would probably call my worksheet. I'm going to go back over here and pick up one of these color quadrants that I made. I'm going to just pick this one down here and copy it. Come back to my worksheet page, which I still have not titled, and I'm going to right mouse click and paste it, because I need to see how many icons can fit in each quadrant. And I can tell right now that I've got one too many. So Again, I'm going to slide this out to the side, get it out of my way, but I still need it handy. I'm going to just delete or cut one of those. And now I know that they will all fit in one of my quadrants of background color. The next thing I need to do, and I'm going to just kind of slide this to the side so I can just kind of see how low I can go. Low, is that right? I don't know. How far I can go. Control down arrow, and they look like they're going to cut fine, so I'm going to just keep going. Control down arrow again until I can fill up one whole quadrant of color with stickers. I'm going to drag that back over real quick and see if I got it right. Looks like I did. And now I want to copy all of the icons I just made. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose them all, right mouse click, and group. Now they're all stuck together and I can't make them mess up. Since it's already chosen, I'm going to hit the control button and the right arrow key one time, let go of the control button, and now using that right arrow key I can manipulate those over. So I'm going to check and see if they fit. Did I get that right? Let's put that right about here maybe. And I think the black icons need to be moved over a few more times. I'm going to leave my pink on the page at the moment and right mouse click on that tab. When I right mouse click on that tab, I'm going to move or send to back so that it will send the pink to the back of the page, and the black icons are still in the front and I can manipulate them. I'm going to use that right arrow key again and click it to the right a few more times and kind of center it in that area. Okay, I like that. Pardon me. Quickly, I'm just going to choose the left icons in the upper left quadrant. I'm going to hit the shift button and I'm going to click the ones in the right hand column, let go of the shift button, right mouse click, and group. That way I did not have to move my pink background, so that I could just grab them with my left mouse button, you know, and swipe across them all. Now they're all copied and grouped together. I'm going to hit the control button and the down arrow, and it'll copy every one of those below it. And all I have to do is use the down arrow button and push it down on the page. Okay, after getting everything organized on my page the way it needs to be, and I'm going to re-look at this because I think I need to move. I think they need to be closer together. I have left way too much wiggle room in between these rows. So what you see here is I have taken off, which means I had to ungroup everything. I took off these bottom left two because I know I have had to, in my original testing of all this, needed to leave this little space here for the registration mark. I'm going to go ahead and take all of these and regroup them. And then I'm going to group this section. Let me just drag it over. And the bottom right section and group those together. And then I'm going to go ahead and nudge these back up. And I really think this is more what I'm needing. I think that will work. I may have to nudge that up a little bit more, which I'm going to do right now. So, you know, this is why you have a worksheet, so you can play around with it. See if those will work. I think that looks more like my original sheets. So let me go with this. I'm going to take everything on this section on the page. I'm going to group it, kind of going backwards here. Shift, grab my tab, and I have to like let go. grab that, Shift, Tab, let go, right mouse click, and group. I'm going to do the same thing, right mouse click again, and this time I'm going to copy it. Okay, now I'm going to come back over to my worksheet that has all my colors on it, and I have pasted it on here, and I've got everything lined up. Got my white corners on so that it won't print pink around my registration marks. I have this sheet ready to go, and now I'm going to start and go over this with you. In the yellow area over here, I have put some directions of the way I do things, and let's look at them. Let me get closer to it so you can see it, and if you want to copy it, it's fine with me. You can do a screenshot if you'd like. The first thing I did, and I just showed you how to make the 3 layers, is make sure that your registration marks are clear of color. That's why we did the white squares over it. The color quadrants are correctly lined up with the images and the cut through blue lines. Let's talk about the cut through blue lines. Okay, I need a cut through layer. And to do that, I'm going to come over to the left hand side of the screen. I'm going to click on draw a rectangle. I'm going to come up here and choose this blue color. And right up here, as far to the left as I can get it, and above the upper left icon, I'm going to start drawing a blue rectangle around all of the icons. And I'm going to stay within the red cut line of the original background page. Then I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to have a real close look at this, because if I mess this up, it's not going to cut, and it's going to leave me with cut off images possibly. Okay, I'm going to choose the straight line next. It's blue, and I'm going to start up here and go slightly past. That's how I like to do it. Just slightly past that blue line I already made with the rectangle. I can hold down my Shift key. It will automatically perfectly align that line straight up and down or sideways. I'm going to let go of my mouse button and then let go of my Shift key. Order is important on that. Okay, while I still have this on, I'm going to do my vertical line. And we'll start where I think it needs to be, go a little bit beyond, hit the Shift key, let go of my mouse, let go of the Shift key. And now I have, I'm going to turn this off. Now I have my cut lines, my blue cut through lines. When I want the whole thing to be cut out, I can peel it off my sticker mat, and have 4 quadrants cut out, ready to go. The red is my kiss cut line. Let's not forget my red kiss cut. So now I have all my quadrants lined up with my images and my cut through blue lines. Everything is correct. Cut lines will not print. Keep that in mind. You don't have to move the cut lines that are on here. And I'm talking specifically about the blue lines that I just made. They are not going to matter as I print. Next, I'm going to move the black layer image over, the black image layer, to the side with one move. And I'm going to leave the white corners where they are. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit back off here so you can see. I'm going to take this tab, the black tab that matches my icons, and I'm going to swipe it to the side and just set them to the side so that when I print this page, it will print only the pink that you see and not print anything in the white areas up here. So next I'm going to turn off my registration marks. Let's talk about this because this is important. Let's find them first. They're over here in the page setup in the upper right hand side. And because I can't see through my camera, there it is, I'm leaning over. In my page setup, these top 3 icons tell me where I can do things to my page. I've got it set up right now to reveal because I want to see those white spots in the corners. I needed it to reveal the gray behind it, and that's why that's set there. The third image, third icon over is where I set up my registration marks. I have mine set up to Cameo because I'm working with a Cameo. I set up my registration marks a specific way almost every time, and this is my choice. I like it set at about 0.75, so all the way over to the right. For length, for thickness, I choose 0.80. My inset is all the way to the left, and I go to advanced options, and left inset, top inset, right inset are all to the far left. The bottom inset you can change. In fact, let me hit it real quick and see what that does. It would move my registration mark. That's what it would do. I'm going to hit back. Let it switch back to where it was because that's how I had it set up previously. I'm going to leave it that way because I'm happy with it. You can change it to anything you want it to be. I'm going to turn off. My next step, number 3 over there, turn off registration marks. So I'm going to come back up here to Style, and there is my off button. I'm going to click it, and you see the registration marks are gone. But the white corners that I made are still there. The pink is still there, my background color, and the cut line, which doesn't matter, it will not print. So now I'm going to choose my printer. I have 2 printers, so I always make sure by looking at my printer that I pick the correct one. I'm using the Epson printer. All the information for my printers is down below. I choose a preference specifically for my printer, and I like my images to have either standard vivid or high. I have chosen in the past, the ones you've seen my stickers are all standard vivid, and recently I went to high because my ink is cheap. I can buy tons of ink. It doesn't use a ton of ink. I've had the same ink cartridges in these printers for quite some time, except for one color, which you can guess what that would be because I like pink. And so you can choose whichever you want, and then you print the page. I'm not going to print this page, so I'm going to turn that off. The registration marks are off on the color page. Let me say that yet one more time. The registration marks are off on the color page. Print it on white sticker paper, your choice, and on the Inkjet printer. One thing to mention at this point is that not all sticker paper is the same. And when you are doing a foiling job on Inkjet, make sure I have my words right, on Inkjet papers, you need to also make sure that that paper is laser friendly as well. I choose my papers from Online Labels with that in mind. The information for this particular sticker paper, which is white sticker paper, and it's able to be printed and does a beautiful job both on an Inkjet and laser printer. At this point, you're going to have this page printed out, and it's going to look just like this except for these blue lines. It will have a cutout notch in the pink, and it'll be white. Let's see what it looks like if it's there. That's pretty much what you'll see, is pink with little divots in it, printed. As we look at our page, the upper left and upper right corners are the top of the page where the registration marks are. The bottom left only, at the bottom of the page, has a registration mark. So you will always know that a perfect corner is always at the bottom right hand side of your page, which is important if you have a printer like my laser printer. You have to put your papers in a specific direction. So make sure that you line this sheet up correctly in your laser printer, which is my next little tag right here. Okay, now using the back button, what we've done so far is just printed it. And remember, the only thing that's going to print is what's on this white section of your silhouette screen. This section only. This pink tab will not print. Nothing on this side will print, just this section. So at this point I can use my back button. Let's just click it and see what happens. It's going to go back and reset some of my registration marks, which is fine since I've been messing with that. Let's go back to where it pops my image back over perfectly where I had it before. Come back closer. Now I'm ready to do the next part. I have brought my image layer back to the original position. The alignment is correct. We have checked for proper alignment and it looks like it's exactly where I want it to be. I'm at number 6. Move color tab for the color quadrant sheet over to the side with one move. Let's do that. One move. I'm going to swipe the color tab now over to the right and get it off my printer page. White will not print. I did number 6. I moved the color tab, the quadrant sheet over with one move. Now I can turn on my registration marks. Okay, come back over here and set it to Cameo. Now my registration, they were probably already on because I did the back button. So they are on. Let's see what that's going to look like. I'm going to take everything down on the reveal, and what I'm fixing to print on my laser printer is registration marks in the correct position and black only. The red cut lines will not print, but the black only images. Remember, the blue cut lines will not print. So now I have my registration marks on. I can now print my black icon sheet with my laser printer. Now let's have a look. Let's pretend I just did that, and I'm looking at a sheet of paper that is pink on the bottom. Let me just keep going back here until I get the pink on the bottom. And there it is. I'm gonna lower that reveal so it looks pretty much like what you're seeing right here. Okay, I want to show you these cut lines. Even on the pink, let's choose this light pink to look at. Sorry if it's moving too much. I'll try to get it as close as I can. Hopefully so that you can see a cut line. Okay, you can barely see it, but I want you to see it. This is greatly enlarged, but the cut line around this image is very close. If your cut line is very close or over, pretend it went right across here. If your cut line goes over an area that is going to be foiled, you will want to foil first, cut last. If, and I'm going to chance it on this one, if the foil area is not on or near a cut line, you can cut first and then foil. Now, let me go backwards here. It'll take it a second to catch up. And I'm going to give it a second to do so because there's a lot of images on here. My way of thinking as I do this, and I'm going to look at this yellow sheet one more time at the bottom. When I cut a sheet first and then foil it, it's easier to do. So many of the things that I do, icons that I make or whatever, I try to make sure that there won't be foiling over a cut line. I prefer to cut first and then foil because it'll already cut out the little quadrants. I use up less foil, it looks pretty, etc. But if I have to foil first and then cut, that means these registration marks, if you put a whole sheet of sticker paper in there with registration marks printed on it, it's going to foil those registration marks. So next I'm going to show you a simple hack that I use when I foil first and then cut so that I can save my registration marks. Sometimes I have to use whiteout and sometimes I use sticker paper. But let me show you a simple hack that I've used with good success over and over, and see if that may help you if you find yourself needing to do that process. Also, be sure you save all of your images, all of your work. You can title it anything you want. As you see, I've done many different things up here. This one's untitled. I'm going to be saving it as my water can icon sheet. I'm going to save it just as it is with everything on the page that I've used because I know what I've done. But I'm going to save it not only to my library, but to my hard drive. And then I have an external hard drive that everything gets saved to at least once a week. And if I have done a lot of work, I will save it immediately. I've lost all of my images from my library numerous times because I was unable to save to an external hard drive. At this point in my life, I have an external hard drive and it's almost full. So anyway, let me show you the hack I was speaking of. Now, here is my Minc Machine. I have it on top of a filing cabinet. And I've got a few things here that I was going to show you. Here's just a plain sheet of paper printed with registration marks. Here is why you can't foil first and not cover up a registration mark. It's because it'll foil it, and your machine cannot read something that's been foiled because it's a reflector. So let's pretend I'm going to cover these registration marks up. Each one will be different on your registration marks versus mine, so I'm not going to give you measurements on that. This is the carrier sheet. This is an old used one that I've done 1,000 times through. I'm going to lay down my pretend sticker paper with the registration marks on it, not foiled yet. And I have the backing of a sticker sheet cut into little rectangles with some tape on them. The waxy part here, that is the leftover part of the sheet, not the sticky part, I've put tape on it so that that waxy part will be down. And just a quick hack, this is what I do. I cover the registration marks and tape that little tab down. If I am printing sheets that are all the same, I can keep these little tabs just about perfect on the carrier sheet. And if I do it to this tape to the sides, all I have to do is lift and get those out. Lift the tabs and then pull the sheets right out after I've foiled it. Sometimes I have to come back through with whiteout and go and try to clean up any edges that have had extra toner put on them. But for the most part, if I do this little hack before I foil, I can put my foil sheet on top of all of that. Pretend I have all those icons printed down there on a nice pretty pink sheet of paper or whatever. This is red foil, by the way. I lay down my foil as flat as I can get it. And then starting up at the top where the crease is in the carrier sheet, I hold it flat and start to roll down the top sheet of that carrier. And then it's ready to put into the Minc machine when it's hot and ready to go. Making your own foiled stickers is very rewarding. I hope this video has been helpful to you and that you'll have as much fun as I have making and using them. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and I'll do my best to help. Thank you so much for watching and have fun. Bye-bye.